Homeless single people should get more help. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has said that councils must do more to help single homeless people. In a landmark ruling, the court found that local authorities were failing to recognize homeless people in vulnerable situations. Ruling on the cases of 3 homeless men, the court found that one, Patrick Kanu, was wrongfully denied care. The court said councils assessing the needs of single homeless people should compare them with an ordinary person rather than another homeless person. The decision will change the vulnerability test by which councils decide which homeless people should be provided housing. Not a priority. Prior to today's ruling, councils assessed potentially vulnerable people by comparing them with a so-called ordinary homeless person. That led to situations in which single homeless people suffering from problems including depression and suicidal thoughts were deemed not vulnerable because an ordinary homeless person would be expected to suffer from those problems. The comparison meant that Mr. Kanu was deemed not to be a priority for housing assistance when he applied to Suffolk Council last year, despite suffering from multiple physical problems as well as psychotic symptoms and suicidal ideation. Mr. Kanu, along with 2 other men, Craig Johnson and Sifitullah Otak, took their cases to the Court of Appeal, but the court upheld the decisions made by Suffolk and Solihull councils. All 3 men then took their cases to the Supreme Court, which found on Wednesday that Mr. Kanu should have been deemed a priority. It ruled that Mr. Johnson and Mr. Otak should not have been, but suggested that Suffolk Council look closely at its protocols with regard to Mr. Otak. The change in the vulnerability assessment will lower the bar for those suffering from various problems and clear the way for them being given priority status by their low